Okay, we are live. All right, let's
Okay.
wait for maybe 1 minute. It's
Yeah, I think it's going to be
9:59 here and
10, yeah,
8:29 there, right?
8:30.
Yeah.
That's right. Another 30 seconds to go probably.
Okay. You start and then I'll follow. Even the script says little bit. We can
No,
adjust.
it is. No,
Yeah.
it is.
Okay, let's go.
All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Shantanu Kelkar. Welcome to this fourth podcast in our marquee series where strategy meets execution. We are here again, fourth time in a row on a weekly basis. It's good to be connected virtually with everyone, whoever is joining. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all. Today, we have the fourth topic in the series on robotics and automation, and we'll be doing a deep dive on affordable robotics and automation for small and medium businesses. So I'll start off by just introducing myself first and then Aniket. So my name is Shantanu Kelkar. Um, I I have my own business consultancy, which goes by the name of 1.618 Business Consulting. I have worked for companies like Honeywell and Emerson Process Management, uh, into the thick of automation implementation and automation projects in the past, but also on the strategy and business table. And we are currently working very closely with small and medium businesses uh, to convert their growth plans using automation, using robotics into reality. So over to you, Aniket.
Great. Thank you, Shantanu. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, Strategy Meets Execution, where we discuss all live problems that the SMB manufacturing companies are facing, and we provide some solutions to it. Very warm welcome to everyone. I'm Aniket Vakchore. I'm currently senior consultant at one a company here in US, but I have worked in Amazon and Cummins for past 15 years. Have very broader global supply chain leadership experience over my entire tenure. Have driven some savings, $1 million savings at Amazon and Cummins as well. I have a Six Sigma certification, and so I'm excited to be here and talking, sharing the stage with Shantanu. So let's dive into the topic.
Yes, absolutely. Let's do that. And to set the stage, again, let's sort of revisit what we have been talking about in the last couple of podcasts that we did. That the topic around robotics, adoption of robotics by small and medium businesses. Uh, it's still the relevant one. And if you look at the statistics here, um, it's a significant portion in the overall industrial workforce. Small and medium businesses make up 75% of manufacturers globally. And in countries like India, the number goes way above 95% as well. So that's what is driving global economies today. But despite that, uh, only 10% of SMBs have adopted robotics compared to 60% adoption rate among large enterprises. So, you see the difference of adoption there. That gap is massive.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. And that's a staggering number. I mean,
Yeah.
75% of the global manufacturings are simply they're failing. So we got to do something about it, right? And I know there was a report from MIT recently that
Mm.
95% of the AI pilot projects fail, they stall. Uh, why so we'll dive that into, like, dive into that problem and explore some solutions in next slides. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's interesting, and thanks for sharing those numbers. Let's go to the next slide.
Yeah. And what it does show, if I may just add, is although it's posing itself as a problem, this lack of adoption or the low percentage of adoption, it's on the other hand also a great opportunity for the SMBs to do something about it, to grow in that space. There's a large headroom. There's a lot to learn from large enterprises and work being done in robotics and automation, and it's now a matter of actually taking on some of those things and implementing them for their own. So huge potential for growth there.
Absolutely.
Let's look at yeah, I think what are the barriers to adoption there?
Hmm.
So go ahead. Um,
Let's Yeah. So these are the strategic barriers. If you look at, um, from a problem value misfit, and then the
mm,
automation roadmap, um, like, look at, let's break, if we want to break this down, these four main barriers, right? High upfront cost, then the integration complexity, we have some skills gap, then the unclear ROI. That's more like broader four pillars of, if
mm,
you talk about four main barriers. And if we want to break them down into the, like, why it is so, like, look at high upfront cost, right? 43%
mm,
of the SMB is, they cite this as the biggest obstacle to adapting robotics. And for many, the perception is that automation is only for large enterprises with deep pockets.
mm,
The reality is
mm,
different.
mm.
Integration complexity, you know that, right? Integration cost can make up to 50 to 70% of overall total cost of automation. So that's a huge barrier for SMB when they are thinking about integrating robotics into their workflows. So, and obviously there is in India, skill gap is there. 50% of the workforce needs rescaling by 2025, uh, and that's, to keep up with the automation trends.
Mm.
And the last one is the unclear ROI, right? 70% of those projects fail to scale beyond the pilot because the ROI is not clear. There is no clear business case for those.
No, exactly. And I think there's also a a deeper issue there, what we call the cardinal sin of automation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Small and medium businesses, they often try to automate their processes just because they have to or they want to because everyone else is doing it or talking about it. But they don't know or they don't understand whether their processes and systems are ready for it. Right? They often or try to automate those flawed and undocumented, undigitized processes as well. So I think some of the fundamental blocks they are missing when SMBs go on take on such projects. That leads to what is termed as faster chaos instead of efficiency, right? It's just as they call in data science, it's just garbage in, garbage out. If your processes are not ready for it, even if you're putting more automation on top of it, it's not going to lead
Work.
you anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
100% agree.
yeah,
And that's where, here is the, and that's a great point that you mentioned, Shantanu. I mean, automation should start with the process optimization always, right? And it's like adding a turbocharger to an inefficient engine, right? You're just gonna burn
yeah,
your more fuel. That's it.
yeah.
So
That's a
you,
good
you
analogy.
gotta, like, look at the problem as a whole and then start from the foundation levels. So let's cover this. Um, I think we already discussed this slide. Let's look at the
Yeah,
next slide here. SASF framework. You want to discuss
right.
this, Antanu? Go ahead.
Yeah, so let's do that. I think we introduced that in our last podcast. How do we, that the simple three-phase process that we call as the SMB Automation Success Framework. This is really a toolkit in a way that should help SMBs adopt automation without falling into those common traps that again we identify as part of this whole process, right? So as we said, one key aspect of why digital adoption fails is because the processes themselves are not ready.
Mhm.
Uh, there is not enough data. There is not enough documentation on in those processes inherently. So when you put automation on top of that, then it doesn't help you. It doesn't derive those or drive those benefits as wanted. So the first phase that we look at is assess and align. Again, in a very time-bound manner, typically we think for a mid-size manufacturing SMB, it should take between 4 to 8 weeks for them to really map their entire process, identify the bottlenecks, see where the processes are ready or not ready for such an advancement, and build a strong business case. So that will help them identify and align the team as well as the overall process in terms of which areas do we want to focus on, right?
Correct.
The second phase is plan and pilot, which again can go on for 8 to 12 weeks or 16 weeks, which comes down to selecting the right technology. Again, uh, there is it's we are in a hype cycle, we are the entire industry is talking about it, the policymakers are talking about it, large enterprises are talking about it. So there are so many things, there's so much of an information overload and so much of a technology overload that sometimes SMBs can probably get lost in that whole menu. So in the second phase, the idea is to select the right technology, design a pilot project, and validate if that technology is really going to give them the ROI or not, right? And then finally the third phase, which is deploying that uh, pilot project or deploying that proof of concept project at scale, and then sustain it over a significant period of time so that you actually start seeing benefits out of that. Deploying at scale, monitoring KPIs, working on the skill sets within the company, working on the workforce so they are ready to work in this new environment, and then focus on continuous improvement. I think those three phases, if followed in this fashion, I think in a period of 1.5 to 2 years from start,
Mm.
SMBs can start seeing the first benefits out from there.
100%. And think of this as a your roadmap. It's not about rushing to deploy the latest technology or robot. Think about it as a starting small, proving value, then you systematically scale it, right?
Correct.
And that's where the real value is. So let's go to the next slide where we talk about phase one, um, which is strategic alignment, assess and align. Um, I think here most of the value, like you can look at the companies that property properly assessed first is 48%. They see productivity gains within 6 months. That's
Mm,
staggering. Versus you can compare it with endless pilot purgatory, which you just siphon the money out and then you don't get any value out of it. So as Chantanu mentioning assess and align, you have to start from where your strategy aligned, right? Look at the automation in a general, look at your current processes, make sure you have those processes in a robust manner. You have a
mm,
good data about it and also the good SOPs documented about it. Then only you can go and implement, yeah, the robotics and think about automation. Process mapping is nothing but you have a workflow, you have systematic way of executing certain tasks, and you have a good data, like in terms of manufacturing. We talk about CPK, which is your manufacturing capability index. Do you have that process map to that level, so that your CPK, you have, like uh, statistical data about it to show that the process is capable.
mm,
Then there is a, you can think about ROI framework, hidden ROI framework, where we talk about labor, uh, then your scrap, whatever the scrap rate is, then plus throughput and the quality gains. You combine that all in your ROI framework to evaluate what is your business case bring it,
mm,
right? Uh, and then the last one, obviously, you got, whenever you start thinking of implementing this project, you have to identify first of all your stakeholders, and then
mm,
involve them, start from beginning, because that is very
mm,
important in getting this process mapped across, and then also implementing it successfully. Stakeholder, because they are the one who is going to adopt it and also implement it, so you
mm,
have to understand their pain points and also involve them in a collaborative manner in your journey.
mm, mm. No, and
uh,
one question that keeps getting asked again is, uh, it tends to or sounds to be very capital intensive, uh, doesn't sound to be very affordable for SMBs. So, do you have any thoughts on that? Is
yeah,
is it something that SMBs can readily adopt?
yeah. So when sometimes there are no, like, some affordable solutions, you have to always look at, okay, what is my, look at, like, map your process,
Mm,
do your value stream mapping, look at entire process, do the value stream mapping, and find out what are the bottlenecks, or where are the biggest pain points in terms of manual operations, or you have a higher scrap rate or quality defects in certain processes. And those are the areas you can think of in automating it using
mm,
your advantage of robotics, because that's where you can get rid of your human errors, human inefficiencies, and get the automation benefit. However, what what I've seen, most of the SMBs try to implement AI and robotics everywhere. That
mm,
does not, it does not address the main problem, and you try to focus away from your main pain points, and then most of the time the implementation fails because you're not focused on the key values or key
mm,
pain points which automation can bring in value. So think about, have your data tells you, you can do the Pareto chart, find out what are your highest bottlenecks, and most of the time where there are human errors causing defects, human process is not efficient, that's where your biggest benefit lies from
mm.
automation.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's great. And I think we do have, a general sense of how much the solutions cost these
Mm,
days, right? It's
absolutely.
certainly, any new technology hype cycle, as they say, does start at a point where it is probably out of reach, uh, for most of the SMBs. But I think we are now probably already in industry 5.0, at least beyond the peak of industry 4.0 here, on the cusp of 4.0 and 5.0, as some of them would call it. And some of these technologies, robotics, have now started becoming very affordable for SMBs too. So I think, in one of the future further slides, you have those ranges where, uh, it shows us how much do cobots cost, or machine vision systems cost.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, you
that's
have
where we're
any
gonna.
ranges you can share? Yeah.
Yeah, the cohorts ranges. I think this slide. Let me. Those were the. Let me go back. I think we did. We discuss that last topic? Last.
Yeah, I think that's in the other PPT.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I apologize. So I think we got this thing back now. But okay, back to your original. What we can do is we can link those material here at the later of the podcast when we publish it, so that they get the real data. but those cobots are in, like, very affordable, $3,000 to $5,000, what we talk about in US. But if you convert that into in Indian rupees, it will be around 3 to 4 5 lakh, around that range.
Mm,
And based on the use cases, I don't want to give like a really like specific number, because that varies based on the use cases, as well as the,
mm,
like, which uh, OEM, robotics OEM you go with. So but we can add those details at the end of the part, like, whenever we publish it. So go on,
yeah,
we
I think.
can.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, hold on. I can actually try to bring that up here.
Hmm.
Um, okay, let me know once if you're able to see my screen.
Yeah,
Yeah, you see that?
I'm sharing. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, great. So, you were just talking about that.
Hmm.
Cobots typically cost between 25 to 50K. Machine entry or machine vision entry level systems, 30 to 50K. There are some already established key vendors here, and the the next kid on the block, as they say, is really robotics as a service. Because
Yes, that was the cost I was
that
giving.
correct.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I was sorry, there's some issue with the presentation, I guess.
No, I'm looking at your slide only, the typical.
Yes. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, somehow the screen just went blank for me, but yeah, I can see it now. So, if you do the maths, if you put these numbers and if you do the maths, the capital cost of cobots for a typical, let's say, an Indian small SMB, small and medium business who is into the metal fabrication sector or food processing sector, this type of investment should be between 5 to 10% of their capex. And a
Correct.
typical mid-size uh, metal fabrication company, for them, if they are committed to growing their company to a significant size, then this should be a reasonable investment to make. And the game changer on top of that is the robotics as automation model, robotics as a service model. It's like a subscription model for robotics, like or a rental model for robotics. And with that, you can actually de-risk even that initial 10% or 8% capital expenditure.
Yes.
The OpEx that you pay on that is also going to be less than your general operational expenditure, and that includes maintenance and support.
Hmm.
So, the deal has now become sweeter, I would say, for the SMBs to really just take that first step towards it,
100%.
right?
100%. No, thanks
And
for
and we
sharing
have
that.
some, yeah.
Yeah, and these are the case studies. Yeah, go ahead.
Correct. So we have some real case studies here, and a couple of them from the US. The Raymath one, I was reading about it. Again, a mid-sized metal fabrication company. When they implemented the robotics automation in their processes, they say they saw a 600% production boost in their machine tending process, and a 200% boost in the welding process after adopting those cobots. So you have the numbers speak for themselves. Shruti engineers on the other side, other end of the world, here in Gujarat itself. I think they're based in Gujarat, and just a 10% small enterprise, they achieved 75% production increase with a single UR robot, universal robot.
That's
That's
staggering.
that's the vendor that they had. And that's, if you see, it has gone across. It has I read up about one example in Africa. Now, it's a retailer called Jumia. You don't usually associate examples from African
Hmm.
continent, or African companies with this, but even there they have implemented these things and they are seeing benefits coming out of it. So even they implemented robotics as a service in their fulfillment centers, and they saw 75% faster lead time, with the implementation of that. So, you'll see those success stories sprouting out almost in every country now. So, it's now
100%.
and here.
It is, yeah. Well said. And these examples show that the automation is not just for a big players. Even small manufacturers, like examples that you gave, they can
Mm,
achieve significant returns if they approach it strategically. And so the
absolutely,
strategy is very important. So
absolutely.
let's go to the next slide. Key metrics and ROI. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So if you look at these numbers, right, after adopting automation, SMBs report an average around 30% productivity improvement,
Mm-hmm.
uh, 50% defect rate reduction. That's significant.
Mm,
30% labor cost saving. That's also huge. That basically that all trickle down to your bottom line of the financial statements.
right.
And then
Absolutely.
40% throughput increase. Those numbers are staggering. What do you think,
Nice,
Shantanu?
nice. No, absolutely. And this is something that again, for an SMB, they know the importance of their money. Every rupee or every dollar that they are putting, they know how important it is to gain a positive ROI on that. And all these numbers that you show here are absolutely something that should drive them towards implementation. Even safety incidents, 40% reduction in safety incidents. Uh, it's not an oft spoken about KPI. Increasingly, there is a lot of awareness about health, safety, and environment among the SMBs as well. But that's a direct impact on reduction in safety incidents that implementation of automation and robotics could have. So it's not just limited to some narrow band of KPIs. It actually impacts the entire operations of the company. So it's an investment with tangible returns all across.
It is. And the last one, we don't want to forget
That's
there's a safety incident, right?
correct.
It's
Yeah,
40% reduction in
reduction in
safety.
safety incidents. Correct. That's what I mentioned.
That's also, yeah. Okay. Next slide. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let's look at some. I think we spoke about this. Robotics as a service. It includes maintenance and support. One good thing about robotics as a service or rentals, robotics on rentals is again, it gives you that flexibility to course correct if you think that some of those aspects are not as per what you had planned or not giving you the kind of benefits that you had expected. So it still leaves you with some time and money on hand to be with that kind of an implementation model, versus a traditional capex model, which you put a big chunk of money upfront and then you don't have anything else to do about it. You just have to go with that. So RAS, I think, is clearly going to be a game changer
Game
going
changer.
forward. Yeah.
Great advice. Yeah. And for our US listeners, the principle is the same.
Mm,
Start with the financial incentive,
mm,
focus on your proven high ROI use cases, and then go from there.
absolutely. Let's go for some India specific recommendations. I think
Mhm.
it's prudent to look at specifically in India, what can SMBs do to start adopting, to start implementing robotics and automation projects in their operations. I think I, you know, I am all sold for it because I was just at this
Mhm.
IT AI conference yesterday here in Pune. It
Mhm.
was specifically targeted towards MSMEs, and we had a number of experts talk about uh, adoption of digitalization, automation, AI into the operations for different sorts of MSMEs. And the experts that we had ranged from the academia. There was an AICTE vice president who oversees functioning
Wow.
of 5,000 engineering colleges with 1 crore plus students studying in there. Uh, then there was an industrialist who had already implemented this kind of advanced automation techniques in one of his companies. There were policymakers, people working in government. And one common message that I saw was that everyone was talking about that their part of the machinery, be it the
Hmm.
government or the education sector or even larger enterprise, they are ready to help MSMEs in whichever way possible to realize their automation or digitalization dreams, right? So it's really not that difficult. You have policies like the credit linked capital subsidy scheme here, 50% capital subsidy up to 1 crore for tech upgrade. You have institutes like NABARD dedicated to MSME financing. So gradually the whole ecosystem is getting built up around the MSME or the small medium business fraternity to really help them uh, drive these initiatives forward. And even if you don't want to spend time learning about all these policies, it could at times get complex on whether am I really eligible for it or not. Although you should really spend time educating yourselves, upgrading yourselves with all the changes in policies and laws and these new incentive structures. But even if you are short of time on doing that, one thing that you can do immediately starting tomorrow is to reach out to an educational engineering institute of repute near you. Just go reach out to them, and or even directly to AICTE in India, specifically. That's the Council for Technical Education. They have a host of programs, hackathons going on around robotics, around automation. Just collaborate with them and implement a proof of concept robotics project on one part of your business. They will be more than happy to have their experts, their professors, and top students work on that project for you. It's sort of a win-win, and once you start, I'm sure many more such doors will open of people who are willing to help you start off on your journey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good points. And then, I want to emphasize this CSS scream.
Mm,
That's game changer. I think, I would encourage all of the SMBs, who are in that process, initial journey of adoption of robotics and
mm,
automation. Go explore those. Those are very like 15% subsidy up to 1 crore. That's huge. Also, that zero defect, zero effect,
mm.
that initiative that government has started, it's going everywhere. It's gonna help meet India with the global manufacturing standards, and that's huge.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. So, again, as I said, the system, the ecosystem is getting ready. It's
mhm,
already now there, and it's just a matter of for the SMBs
time,
to, get up and smell the coffee.
100%.
Yeah. So let's
All right.
let's
So,
look at
what are your final
final
recommendations?
recommendations. I think go ahead. What do you say about this? Your 90-day
Yeah, I
plan.
mean, you laid this out very well, Shantanu. Like, our SSF plan, week 1 to 4, go assess your map out your processes,
Mm,
look at what are the bottlenecks, complete that 5 point readiness checklist, um, identify the high impact items, and then start with the low complexity pilot projects.
absolutely.
Then go in the week 5 to 8, then go into the plan phase, look at your hidden ROI business cases, and then as Shantanu covered, RASS, right, robotics as a service, look at those versus capex,
Mm,
do that entire analysis, run the numbers, and I think you'll the data itself will tell you the truth, like which model makes sense for your own use cases. And then select the certified integrator, like there are 7 C's, we
mm,
mentioned earlier.
mm,
And then go into the 9 to 12 week piloting, look at, you know find out the small project that would benefit immensely, and it does not have a high risk, but you can actually after you implementing, you'll get a confidence, you'll see how these things work, you'll learn a lot, you can get your workforce trained on that, uh, develop your KPIs, you can track those,
Yeah.
and then that will give you a financial ROI numbers that can help you justify. I mean, your CFO will be happy with that
No.
within 9 to 12 weeks.
One of the more important people you need to keep happy.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's whatever your process, however complex or simple it is, however advanced or automated it is right now, I'm sure if you go back to the drawing board and really map out the process, you will find some areas which need improvement, and it could be as simple as some smaller material handling, conveyor belt, or a pick and place kind of uh, activity, or a simple assembly line. So I remember I was visiting this uh, factory back in my Honeywell days in Korea, and they had started implementing some robotics automation processes there, and they had just very clearly demarked a plant area in their setup, and if you entered it, you almost felt like you were entering a different world. So that whole process from door entry to door exit was entirely robotics driven, not a single person overseeing any of those operations there. But it was still a part of their larger production process. And they were then able to also specifically track the performance of that area of the process. They knew how much
Wow.
they were spending earlier on that part of the process, and with robotics how much were they improving on that, on the efficiency, on the output as well. So they didn't
Fascinating.
go they didn't uh, go for every process to be automated, but they were
Hmm.
able to demarcate that area, and that led them to specifically track the performance that area separately, and that also then set the base for them to improve the other areas in the process, with a proven track record, with a proven business case that yes, it's working in this area of the process, it will also work in the next um, downstream and upstream areas of that process. So all
Yeah, that's
those,
the benefit of
everything
pilot.
can be
Well
done.
said.
Yeah.
Awesome. We are almost at the top of the hour. So
Yes.
that's, you wanna drop out your contact details before we call
Yeah.
the day?
Yes. I think they just reach out to me on LinkedIn or on my website, 1.618 Business Consulting. Um, and again, myself and Aniket, both are very accessible and ready to hear from you, even if it's just a comment, a suggestion, or an idea that you want to share with us related to this topic. Do reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to engage with you. And then let's see where that conversation leads.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it was a great time presenting this, and yeah, I'm looking forward for all the comments. If you like this content, please like and share with other of your colleagues as well as SME manufacturer. And
Mm,
if you have any business, like if just tell us what you would like to hear from us. If you have any particular problems that you are seeing in your production floor or in your company processes, let us know, and then we can help you out, or prepare some presentation like this in our next podcast to discuss that. So let us know.
absolutely.
Thank you all for joining in. Really had a great time. We will see you next time. Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.